Welcome to another top 5 with Kris05, guys. Today I'm gonna give you the 5 best decks in Hearthstone right after the Renathal Patch, so you guys know what to play with as well as what you're playing against. I'm gonna give you some general tips for these decks, their mulligans, win rates, as well as all of the other working archetypes for each individual class, so stick around to the end. Blizzard has provided me with codes to give away, so I will be giving out one standard bundle in this video, and all you gotta do to enter the giveaway is like the video, subscribe to the channel, and let me know in the comments if you were a Hearthstone dev for a day, what changes would you do to the game and why would you delete Priest? I'm gonna be drawing out the winner in about a week from now, live on stream, and I will pin the comment that won the giveaway, so definitely check out the video later. Anyway, now let's check out the decks.
You are not prepared!
The first deck on the list is obviously gonna be Big Spell Mage, and this is a 40 variant, which I did tell you guys in the last top 5, it's probably gonna be a 40 list at the top, cause we simply did not have enough stats for the first few days. Because with 40 card decks, that's just way too much variation for each card, and there couldn't have been enough stats like that. But now we have enough. Here's one of the variants that's doing best right now, and it does look quite similar to the deck I already gave you a guide about, so definitely check that one out. Some minor changes here would be that we have a couple of cult neophytes, which are definitely super important nowadays because a lot of your matchups will be mirrors, and if you're actually able to counter the opponent dropping their tsunami before you, that's gonna be huge. The other change in here is that this deck has Yaxaron, so you do have one extra line of defense, but the rest looks pretty similar, and you still have a couple of audio splitters, so you can actually get yourself even more galactic projection orbs. Definitely check out my detailed guide about this deck as well as my gameplay so you know exactly what you want to be doing with this one. Let's see what the matchups are looking like. Not that much stats obviously, still it is a 40 deck so it's gonna be rough like that, but we can swap over to some other more popular variants like this one for instance, and here surely we're gonna see a little bit more stats, and here they are. Some of the druids are not gonna be your friend, Tourist Belly is a little bit on the negative, everything else definitely great. As for the mulligan, let's see what the stats show here. Going first, here's what it looks like. You definitely want to be curving out, and Watercolor Artist is definitely MVP, and the same can be said for King Tide when going first, because you're gonna be the one to have access to 5 mana first, so you basically block the opponent from casting spells, while actually setting yourself up to cast the Tsunami yourself. Cult Neophyte is definitely also a great keep against mages, but you obviously have to time it correctly when you want to be playing it. The weapon can be great, your gold banner, 1 mana frequency definitely ain't bad, Seashell is super good, Robocolor can be a great play, Greedy Partner can allow you to do things faster, and Skyla can also be a great keep. And as for on the coin, here's what we have again. The stats here are definitely messy, we're gonna have to go with the cap trade instead, and it kinda looks like the same deal. Here King Tide is still great, but keep in mind if you're against a Mirror Mage matchup, King Tide is not gonna help you that much, because if you play King Tide on your turn 4, that means that they're gonna have 5 mana on their next turn, so you're basically helping them cast Tsunami faster. But yeah, the rest looks pretty similar. For other good mage decks, we definitely have nothing but 40 big spell mages at the top, and there's so many variants of it, it's not even funny. I'm still scrolling big 40s, and here's a 30 big spell mage. This one has some speaker stompers, definitely want to play around the other big spell mages out there. And yeah, it's basically nothing but these. If you're gonna be playing mages, might as well play the broken thing. Elemental mage is still somewhat playable, it was. Now, apparently not so much, it's apparently under 50, so definitely not great. So yeah, big spell mage or bust. Sith mage, I could have swore I saw it somewhere, but I'm still pretty sure it's around 50%, so nothing to write home about. On the number 2 spot, we have a Rainbow Shaman, and this is the Wave of Nostalgia variant. Single copy of a weapon in here, and you have a couple of Thrall's Gift, so you can either do some very big Wave of Nostalgia turns, some very big Razzler turns, or some basically OTK turns with the help of Bloodlust out of your Thrall's Gift for 6 mana in total. You still have a couple of Cult Neophytes against them mages. You have a good amount of cycle with the Needle Rock Totem, with the Trusty Companion, with the Cactus Cutter, and you also have some of the Pirate package with patches, with the Sigils, as well as the Cookie. The cool thing about this deck is you could actually do a turn 4 double Sigil into a turn 5 Wave of Nostalgia, or into a turn 6 Bloodlust, so that can be quite the big amount of damage out of nowhere. You also have the weapon. Here it's mainly used as a control tool, as you're gonna notice we don't have any actual way to amplify the damage here, so you could deal 6 damage to the face, but it's usually gonna be the deal with some big-ass taunts like Fae and stuff. And we obviously have Ziliax with a +1 and -1, because you are quite tokeny. Again, check out my guide about this deck. And also, matchup-wise, we can see Odin Warrior is not gonna be great, same with Razzler DK, but you're gonna be great against Big Spell Mage and everything else, so you have that going for you. Going first, you're gonna be looking for your good early curve with Murloc, with Patchwork. Sigil is still great, Gorgon Zormwon curve ain't bad. Greedy Partner can be great if you have a 1-drop and another 2-drop, let's say like a Cactus Cutter or Sigil. Cookie could be a keep, especially if you have the Sigil already, that's gonna be great. If you have a 1-drop Trusty could be awesome. Pop-Up Book can also be interesting, like if you turn 1 Pop-Up Book, turn 2 you could be playing Trusty Companion, and that gives you a turn 4 Backstage Bouncer, for instance. I'd say Needle Rock and Gold Banner are also pretty nice, even though they're not the biggest tempo you could be doing on 2, but they're still far from the worst. And going second is not much different, but Ziliax is a lot more keepable here, because you will be able to actually coin him out a lot earlier, like Sigil on turn 2 into, let's say, Murloc Glowfin, coin Ziliax could be an awesome play. But yeah, it's all around pretty much same stuff. Gorgon Zormo a bit lower on the keep list, I'd still say he's pretty nice though. For other Shaman decks, we can also see some 40 Shaman decks are doing quite well, surprisingly. This is Renathal Shamans. They're using the Hunter Tourist on both of these variants. We have some other variations of Rainbow Shamans, Evolved Shamans, even Elemental Shaman is quite up there, 57, low sample size though. So it's definitely a nice time to be a Shaman player. You have definitely plenty of different options, so choose accordingly. On the number 3 spot we have Odin Warrior, which has actually been doing quite well even against the mages. Despite what people think, you're actually capable of winning against mages. They don't freeze your face all the time, they just freeze it most of the time. And all you really need is 1 turn to really go ham with the armor, because you even have things like New Heights, so having 16 mana, that's literally OTK. As long as your face is not frozen, and you can definitely set that up. This being a 40 list, you have access to a lot of extra things, you have plenty of control, plenty of armor game, plenty of card draw, so you can definitely do a bit more than the typical Odin Warrior can. You even have the new Alloy Advisor, which has been proving to be an excellent inclusion even in 30 variants, because with this thing on the board plus a Blade Storm, you can do some massive amounts of armor that way. Like, that is basically a 6 mana gain 18 armor like that. And if it's already after Odin, things go pretty bad pretty quickly for the opponent. We have a lot more control tools in here with Brawls, with Sanitizes, with Blade Storms, Aftershocks, and we have Zilly at the end with the Twin and Perfect module. For the matchups, we can only see Big Spell Mage is going to be somewhat favorable. For similar decks, not really anything amazing to show off here. So let's just go for the mulligans instead. And going first, here's what people are holding on to. It's usually going to be card draw, ramp, and in some cases some armor gain and removal as well, but usually card draw and ramp is the way to go. And same can be said for going second, honestly. Not many people are running Dirty Rats nowadays, so even holding on to Odin could be something to consider, but be careful not to just hold on to Odin and nothing else, because you will need to somewhat curve into it. For other good warrior decks, this is the one I showed you, definitely lower sample size, but cut it some slack, it's just a 40 deck, so kinda hard to get too big of a critical mass of games. We can also see that Dummy Warrior is still doing acceptably well, nothing that amazing for a top 5, but definitely playable, so if you enjoy that playstyle, you are going to be able to climb with it. And we can also see that Reno Warrior is also up there, a little bit less sample size, but this one is a Reno, so it's even harder to get enough stats for it, so it is playable, you just gotta be really good with it. Jumping in number 4, we still have Pain Warlock doing nice and good, even though people are 40 health most of the time, Pain Warlock is still able to close the gap. And I even saw some 40 Pain Locks and even tried it last night on stream. We did well against the first few mages, but after that it was nothing but losses, so it does make sense because you can literally do Infernal into a Molten Giant like that, because you need to be down to 18 health or lower for Giants to go down to 0 here. And starting as a 40, that's a lot easier for you to actually do, while not bringing yourself to a very dangerous life total, but the inconsistency of having 40 cards kind of felt bad. Anyway, this is a typical Pain Warlock. We have a couple of Cult Neophytes again, mainly for the mages, as well as one Speaker Stomper. Symphony and Leroy can help you actually win the game after you've lost the boards. And the rest is just standard Pain Warlock nonsense, so really no need to go deep on this one. Matchup-wise, we can see we're good against Big, as well as Insanity Warlock. For similar decks, This one, wow, one different card and the win rate is so much lower. That kind of sounds wrong, but still, let's see some matchups. And you can see Razzler DK, Pirate Demon Hunter, Taurus Pally, not so great for you, including Rainbow Shamans. So yeah, it looks kind of rough, but apparently it is working, at least this archetype, with the Symphony instead. Going first and second, you're always gonna want to be curving out well with nice 1-drops. Gonna go with the kept traits again, and yeah, you want your good 1-drop damagers. Blood Treant is great, Geode on 2 ain't bad, Malefic Rook on curve is great as well. If you have some damaging cards already, Imprisoned Horror is also great. If you're against a mage, holding onto a Cult Neophyte might be interesting. Holding onto Trolley Problem usually always feels bad, because by the time you get to play this, you usually have a spell, and it definitely doesn't feel great burning though, so it would be better for you to pretend you're gonna top deck it around when you need it. If you already have a good damaging hand, Molten Giant might also be a keep. When you're on the coin, again, you're looking for the good 1-drops for damage. Malefic Rook on 1 or on 2 or 3 could be good. Imprisoned is still nice. Giant a lot more capable here. Cult Neophyte still great against mages. And if you're curving out, even Infernal might be a consideration. Like I said, we have actually several different iterations of 40 Pain Warlocks at the top, and that's honestly, I literally joked about this thing being a good idea, but apparently people are doing well with it. Like, look at this nonsense. Some quite a decent win rate. This one has 2,000 games, 56, so definitely not a fluke. But this is the list I showed you here, because it's a lot more standard. I think it is probably the better deck to be going for, but this one also looks quite promising with decent sample size, actually. Insanity Warlock is still doing nicely, especially against the greedy 40 decks. You can do obscene amounts of damage if you know how to set up your fizzle properly. And there's also some more control-y Insanity Warlocks out there with Sir Garrus and whatnot. I don't know, probably not such a bright idea if you ask me. So yeah, stick to Insanity and stick to Pain, usually the normal kinds. And lastly we have Tourist Pally. This is a 40 Tourist Pally, so that's kind of interesting. And the sample size for this one is not that hot, so take this one with a grain of salt. But I have been seeing plenty of these lately, and they are combining the tourist aspect with the urban Pally, and it's actually doing quite well. You still have Pipsy in here, you can still OTK people with the help of the tourist, but you can also build some pretty big men with the help of things like Disciple of Amidus, with Stoneheart King, and also Tyr can repeat all of those, so it can be pretty busted like that. You still have room for a single Cult Neophyte in here to play around the mages. And you still have plenty of control tools with things like Yogg, we have Ankyliax here with the Virus module. We have Marin to cheat out tons, Amidus is obviously a no-brainer. And Keeper's Strength can also be quite good here, so you can actually have some decent removal. Robocolor gives you tons of card draw, and with the Metal Detector you can get some coins faster. For the matchups, all we need to see here is it's going to be great against Big Spell Mage, so you have that going for you, which is nice. And for the mulligans, we're gonna have to go with the kept traits. Going first, here's what people are looking for. You want to be curving out. Pipsy is great, the weapon, the Seashell. Stoneheart ain't bad, Robocolor for some tons of card draw. Disciple of Amidus, and if you're against the mage again, Cult Neophyte could be the play. And going second, it's not much different, but here Living Horizon is a much better keep, because you have 2 extra cards here with the coin and the extra card draw, but everything else is kinda same deal. For other good Pally decks, I almost included Flood Pally in here, which has been doing surprisingly well, but I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure who this Flood Pally is doing well against, because mages usually do well against this thing, so I really don't know. But I guess you could give this one a try as well. Handbuff Pally is still up there supposedly, and 30 Tourist Pally is still as popular as ever, but the win rate is slightly lower than we're used to. For the classes we haven't mentioned, starting off with Death Knight, technically Razzler Death Knight could have made the list today, but the first big sample size list is at 55, so not that amazing. And it's a very close looking to the top list with 62, but it's a little bit iffy. Highlander Death Knight apparently is also up there. Razzler Highlander Death Knight is also there apparently, and the rest is just iteration of these. With Demon Hunter, Pirate Demon Hunter is still your best bet, but it's not above 60% like we're used to seeing it. Now with people running 40 decks, it's a bit harder for them to close the gap before people actually stabilize on them. With Druids, Dungar Druid is at the top with not that big a sample size. The first big sample size list is this Dragon Highlander Druid. And the Maxibon OTK Druid definitely feels super strong as well if you ask me. But that one is gonna take more than a hat track for people to actually win with it, so you're not gonna see too much of that from Diamond to Legend in most cases. For Hunter, Secret Hunter is at the top spot, but Highlander Hunter has definitely been feeling amazing, and I did try it last night and I literally couldn't lose a single game, climbing all the way up to top 500 with it. Spell Token Hunter is also up there apparently, and there's also a 30 Breakfast Hunter here that's also doing acceptably well, but nothing close to 60. Right now, Priests are doing best with Overkill Priest. Zarimi Priest was also acceptable not too long ago, but now it seems like it has fallen off again. And Highlander Priest seems to be just annoying, but not really winning much. Rogue looks to be an absolute dumpster fire lately. People have been saying Mech Rogue is actually doing quite well, but for me, 52% is not exactly quite well, so I don't know about you, but I'd stay away from Rogue for a while. Because everything is either close to 50 or a lot under it, so yeah, be careful. That's gonna be it for this top 5, guys. Hope this helps you figure out what you want to be playing to hit Easy Legend in the October season. Hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, drop a like and subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment so you can join the Hearthstone regular bundle giveaway. And don't forget you can hire some Hearthstone coaching and check out my Metafy courses. Thanks for watching, I'm Kris05, and I'll see you in my next video or stream.